All right, we live. It's Sunday, everybody. And if you're
That's right.
tuning in, you're listening to Welcome to Northwest Austin Council. So we appreciate you being here first and foremost. Now, as y'all know, we do this thing from 6 to 8.
That's right.
There's various ways that you can interact with the show. We got the Zoom, we got the YouTube, we got the Facebook, right? So now if you're on the Facebook or the YouTube, I need you to stop, go subscribe, like, share, because people need to know what we talking about. Because again, this is West Side people talk about West Side things. And if you comment, you already know we could drop that right into the show so that you can be a part of the conversation if you can't be here live with us listening in or however you want to do it. And today's show, as you can see, title, listen, we're gonna have Courtney from Planning Your Success Chicago come on and talk about some of the amazing things that they have going for the youth. And especially with the summer coming up and with some of these activities that have been going on. I know y'all know about the bean situation, man. Y'all know about some of the other situations, large gatherings, man. So let's talk about the positive about our children and some of these organizations that's out here, doing the things that's necessary for these kids to keep them out of these type of situations. Before we do that, though, you already know what time it is. I shipped over to Steve, man. I asked him, "What's up, man? What you got going on, Steve?"
Oh, you already put it to the task. The kids, the state of the black America as we know it,
Facts.
and
It's looking ugly.
yes, indeed.
It's ugly.
Not just with our. I'm not talking about what we put on ourselves. I'm talking about the blatant racism.
That's a fact.
Blatant, white superiority complex, and we trying to make it happen. You know what? You gotta go there. There you go. All good. Ready? Yeah, we're trying to make it happen. But as you know, there were what, 11 people killed in Buffalo this week.
I thought it was 10, but
yeah,
I mean,
it might have been 10, 11 shots.
Yeah,
probably. But
it's crazy.
I mean, that situation in itself is not new.
Now, what I found interesting about that, I went on Twitter and I followed Candace Owens. Divisive as she might be, she has some good takes from time to time. And one of the things that she actually mentioned was that the guy had inscribed on his rifle one of the names of the people that were killed in Minnesota. There was earlier, I want to say it was earlier this year, maybe late last year, there was a parade in Minnesota where a black man plowed through that group of individuals in an apparent racist attack as well. Listen, white people ain't the only ones. Yeah, Wisconsin. Okay, pardon me. So white people ain't always the only ones racist. We do know that. And so one of the things that was interesting about that take was that she said that, again, one of the people that were killed in that attack was somebody that he had written on his rifle.
Wow.
Outside of, I think he had nigger written on his rifle as well, but, there's that.
Right.
So,
wow.
It's ugly, man. I mean, it's ugly.
We live in a state of affairs that trickle down from economics and inflation to abortion rights issues,
man,
to global war.
Yeah.
And we still talking about COVID.
Yeah.
And we can't even get off the ground in our own city and our own communities without having the issue of the mass, what do they call it? They're doing the brick smash and grabs and carjackings, and where do we start and where do we end? There's just a multitude of issues out there that we're steadily trying to eradicate and work towards solving, but
it's a lot of work to be done. I mean, I was just talking to Roman right before I got here, and I told him, man, I'm gonna tell all my black people that's listening what the secret is, man. The secret is unity. The moment that black people on all levels decide to come together, that is when our situation will change, because it is clear as day to anybody else that are not black, apparently, that we are the leaders. We are the culture. We are the most intelligent, the most beautiful, the most creative. any superlative you want to give to anybody belongs to the black person. And I'm biased because I'm black. So listen, I mean, somebody else might feel that way. Don't call me a black supremacist, please. But I'm just saying, though, the truth is what it is, because
go where you know. Huh?
I mean, listen. I mean, throughout history, we were the teachers. We taught, the Moors taught individuals what they needed to know. The Africans taught individuals what they needed to know. I mean, time and time again, we have been the leaders of the world, and we don't know that. And the unfortunate is, we are so disjointed as a group that other people play off of that, and it allows for them to be above us in our in the natural pecking order of life. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. And again, race was a construct that was created way before I got here. But I always gonna say this: if y'all gonna continue to play around with race, I don't want to be last. It is what it is. I mean, look, that's the truth.
I don't want to be last.
For real.
Yeah, I mean this.
You know, so
I mean, what do we do? What do we do? We address things in order, I guess.
Yeah, we do. But you know what? Let's start with the carjackings. Let's start with the smash and grabs. Let's start with these children gathering. And I guess that's a great segue to go ahead and bring Courtney on. This is Courtney Underwood. Just met her recently, so I don't know a whole lot about her, right? So I'm gonna let her introduce herself when she come on. But I will say this though, they have some amazing programs that's going on right in Austin. She's from Austin. And so and as a young person, you know what I'm saying? Now, again, my definition of young person different from y'all's. Y'all always looking for the 18 to young 20s. I'm a young person. I'm 34 years old. She fit in that category as well. She's a young person that's doing some amazing things too, and she needs for us to know who she is so that we can be a part of some of those things that she got going on, and maybe we can start to change the narrative about the youth. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and bring Courtney on.
All right.
Hi. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. Of course, I am certainly young. Put me in that category. You hit the nail on the head. The 30s is still young. We got a lot of life to live left.
That's a fact.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I tell them, so I go back and forth with the generations, because you know, when they say young people, we automatically go to people that's teenagers, you know, up to 18 and probably young 20s. And I'm just like, yo, leave them alone. Let them try to figure out life and play in a sandbox. Like, come to me, who's ready to assume some of these roles in our community. But I be overlooked to go get advice from a person that will not wipe their ass good. No disrespect to my young people, but come on.
You know what it is?
I mean, we got to call it what it is.
We're being disenfranchised.
Man.
Like multiple, age groups. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The older people or the middle-aged people, they want to pitch it off. Everybody else is not doing responsible. They need to be responsible because they want the young people to take care of the youngsters. That's what it is. They're just pitching it off. We can't deal with them, so let the young people deal with the youngsters. It just ends up being what it is. But welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to get into this conversation. You opened up with talking about unity and how powerful we are, and Planning Your Success absolutely aligns with that. So I'm just excited to talk about all of the amazing things that we're doing in Austin. We have a heart for Austin. We've been there for close to 20 years now, and Planning Your Success is actually celebrating its 18th year this year, right in Austin. So the corner of Lake and Long. So when I say Austin, I mean Austin proper. Yeah. So as I think about why we were founded, and
wait, hold on. Right to business. I've been look. She's right. Wait. Let's introduce you. Let's do that first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's rewind. I'm more than happy to talk about myself. I'm always down for the cause, but I am over marketing and community engagement for Planning Your Success. So I wear a lot of hats, and that's the one that I'm here to talk about first and foremost. But beyond that, I am an entrepreneur myself in the Austin community. I do human resources and leadership development. I always say I teach people about people for the business of people. And if you've ever worked in unhealthy workplace, then you know exactly the kind of help that I provide to bring it back to a place of healing and restoration. So I always say that I come in, like Super Nanny or Mary Poppins, to just come clean up the mess and heal teams and get them where they need to go. So that's what I do at Kasar Consulting. But yeah, it all starts with a heart for the community. I know the power of having the right people in the right position at the right time. And as I think about, what planning your success is and, how I pour into the youth in that role, it's really about, setting them up to not only have a seat at the table, but to build tables of their own. And so I'm really, really passionate about not only just entrepreneurship, but just, agency and making sure that people know what paths are available to them, because the road to success is not always a straight line, right? There's a lot of different facts that go into what success looks like. It's not a cookie cutter solution. So yeah, I can talk about pouring into our kids all day, but that's a bit about me.
I'm a jump right off the last thing you just said. Like,
Okay.
how do y'all help children define what success is? Because that's different for everybody, like you just said. So
Yes.
yeah, let's go right there.
So it's really leaning into their strengths. And that is a foundational principle that we use when we think about what success can look like for our youth. One thing that I say all the time is that college isn't for everyone. And I think today's society has proven that to be true when you think about what success looks like. So whether it's going into the trades, whether it's starting a business of your own, whether it's really just pursuing higher education and different fellowships and opportunities. It's not always just straight to college. And so when I think about how do we define what success looks like for each of the kids that we serve, it's really about, it starts with listening, right? We do, interview process. We work with our kids on an ongoing basis. Sometimes we point out the strengths that they have. One of my favorite conversations to have is not the classic, what are you good at? What do you want to be when you grow up? It's more just observing, like, in this situation, how would you react?
And skills.
Yes, soft skills, critical thinking skills, because those make money. Those make money. I say, I went to DePaul University. I majored in organizational and relational communication, but it sounds fancy, but it's really people watching, right? How people communicate, how people interact, what happens when that communication breaks down. That is a field of study. And, not a lot of, youth know that. They just think, I'm just naturally good at it. I'm the peacemaker in my group. Yeah, you can get paid for that. You can absolutely get paid for that. Or a lot of our kids have natural born leadership qualities. They can know how to command a room. They know how to get everybody's attention. And so it's really just nurturing that and then seeing where it could be applied versus trying to fit our kids into a box, just based on what makes the most money or, what's hot right now. It's really that personalized approach that can get them where they're designed to go. So it starts with listening and observing before you start, just throwing them onto a path. So yeah, it's organic. Yeah.
Sure. What ages do you all serve? What kind of
we serve? What I love about Planning Your Success is that we take them from, we have a really robust early childhood program. So we start from when they first get here all the way through. We have our next chapter. So that's even beyond college, right? So when we think about 0 all the way to, that mid-20s point when people are still trying to figure things out, it's really the whole continuum. We have programs for every single stage. And that is really the game changer because, again, we've been around for 18 years. So some of our first students are full grown adults now. And so we get to see, that full circle moment and pour into them on an ongoing basis. And now they're teaching others, right? You want that longevity as you think about succession planning, right? So it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. So every age and stage.
So you guys are located in the church?
Yes, so we partner with Better Life Faith Church International. So that's 5401 West Lake Street. So again, the corner of Lake and Long, right next to PCC. That's where our main offices are, and that's where a lot of times when we're holding events, we're able to use that space. The great thing about having that partnership is that it's a natural seed for some of the students that take part in our regular programming. As we think about upcoming events that we have, which I'm excited to discuss, like youth summer camp and different things for the community, naturally, we'll turn there and use their resources to help get the word out to make sure that we're having an even bigger impact because we have grown consistently year over year. And now with partnerships and relationships like this one, we're able to spread the word even further to make sure that people are taking advantage of everything that we do. I mean, everything that we do for the community, for a community event is free. So we want to make sure that we're spreading the word far and wide to make sure that the community is really taking advantage of all that we are and all that we do.
And what's the? I don't know. Did you ask this the age group again? That you?
Zero all
At
the way to
zero to
the 20s.
I hear you. I hear you.
yeah.
And I noticed you mentioned entrepreneurship. And what could you give me elaborate on what level of entrepreneurship are you actually working with the youth or young people?
Oh, sure. That's my wheelhouse. We are a committee of four, so I'm happy to talk about that because that is my lane. So when I think about entrepreneurship, I do teach a variety of classes to get people to plant the seed for entrepreneurship because again, that's not for everyone. You have to have a lot of discipline. You have to have consistency. You have to have drive and ambition. But it's really planting the seed on what can be done. And one of the first things that I highlight is that some things just can be a hobby. You don't need to monetize each and everything that you do. And I feel like now, entrepreneurship is like really high. Like, oh, just get your LLC and you're good to go.
Mhm.
But you can burn out really quickly, just turning your passion into a business. That's not always the right thing to do. I think about a close friend that I had. She's really, really good at baking. Really, really good. And the moment she started charging for it, she started resenting it.
Mhm.
So she was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Mhm.
And so it's really about, just planting the seeds on what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. It is definitely not all glitz and glamour and, just instant money and profit. And it's so much more to it. So it's really just letting them see what's possible and letting them see what it actually takes to be successful. One of my favorite statistics to share from the Small Business Administration is that 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. And a lot of times people think it's because, they didn't have the right marketing, they didn't have the right product, the service was off. But a lot of times it's because of burnout. Like you can be profitable at the 5 year mark. By then you should have been, figured out what it is that you're doing and worked out all the kinks. But by the 5 year mark, you start to question the life that you built, right? Because you're still working a million hours if you haven't built a team. You still
Mhm.
have a lot of pressure to perform on your shoulders, and you don't experience the quality of life that you thought you would have, after grinding and hustling for 5 years straight. So that's why a lot of businesses close because people say, oh, well, when I work for somebody else, I got vacation time. When I work for somebody else, I can
Mhm.
sleep, So it's about doing it the right way with that solid foundation so that doesn't become their story. I never want to glamorize the hustle and grind. It's a very toxic narrative. You can be successful and not have to sacrifice yourself in the process. I always say you do not have to suffer to succeed. And that is one of the foundational principles that we share as well.
Mm.
I noticed you mentioned something about LLC. I just recently heard about a college graduation. I don't know if it was Morehouse or Howard or somewhere, but where a bank head came to the graduation and they thought that the bank leader was going to give them free, tuition, all the tuition they paid, they were going to reimburse. And they ended up giving them LLCs in their own names.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
My
Yeah.
friend pointed that out yesterday.
yeah. Each graduate?
Yeah. I
What's your
mean, that could work for some. Some might want the tuition paid, but because again, it's not for everybody. So, I always, I'm not going to put down anyone's generosity, but at the same time, it's not a cookie cutter solution.
right?
Some
It
might be
may not
better
be
off
the
just
best.
having the tuition paid
It
while they
may be the
figure
best.
life out.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
for
say
sure.
someone told you about it?
Yeah, my friend was slutty vegan. You ever heard of that?
Oh yeah, yeah, in Atlanta, right?
Yes. So
Hmm.
the woman that's the owner of Slutty Vegan, she was the one in conjunction with that bank that
Mm.
gave all of those
Oh.
graduates the LLCs. And so we were out yesterday. I had class, and she pointed it out. She was like, "Isn't this cool?" I guess. Who is this lady? I didn't know the name of the person she was talking about. So
Right.
I remember Slutty Vegan though. I was like, "That's catchy."
Yeah, yeah, that's good recognition. They nailed that.
Well,
Um,
you got to think about it. Often the LLC doesn't mean that you have to go into business. I mean, they could use that to purchase property if they know how to do it right
True.
as a
right.
corporation
True.
or as
True.
a company, But what are you gonna do with the property? Are you gonna live in it? Maybe.
Mhm.
Um, but the intent still was based on owning a business. All said and done. But I just talked to a mother yesterday. Her son is graduating, and I asked her. I said, "What's his plans?" She said, "He wants to go into the vocations. He wants to be a pipe fitter." I'm like, "Oh wow!" So I'm like, "Where's he going to school?" And she said, "Well, where's he going to go to train?" And she said, "Somewhere in Urbana. There's a trade school in Urbana." I'm like, "Wow, that's a long way to go just to learn a trade when all the things we need are right here." But hey, if it helps him out, it helps him out.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just making sure that I was kind of in tune with what it was. So the girls, the owner, pardon me, that woman, her name is Pinky Cole, and it
Hmm.
was the Clark Atlanta University
Mm.
graduating class that she gifted all of them an LLC. But during her commencement speech, she said that she wants them all to fail. She said just because failure is where you find inspiration. She's like you get a PhD in failure, and but that those losses are those those are just lessons, not losses. So um,
Learn them early.
yeah. So I guess that was her whole way of giving back. She graduated from Clark Atlanta in 2009 apparently. So I had to follow
Oh.
up with that. So you mentioned some of the programs and things that you all offer. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so we offer a range of programs. Again, we're going from zero all the way to mid 20s. So when you think about, how we serve and what we do, we offer everything from tutoring to field trips to special events to mentoring to career coaching. That's again my lane. So I do mock interviews and resume reviews and, really prepping them to really own their presence in interviewing and also push back in the negotiation stage when it's time to consider salary and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, we do a lot of workshops and we have youth summer camp coming up. That's our next event, our next program in July, and that'll actually be at Austin at our West Side location, and that's 3 days free. And then we also have it at our South Side location too, if there are any South Side listeners. That's on 74th and Cottage Grove. So I can definitely share those details with you. But it's everything we do is free. We don't charge for our workshops. We don't charge for our resume reviews. We don't charge for youth summer camp, which is great because we've gotten some amazing sponsorships lately with Portillo's and Oriental Trading, and even being able to use the Better Life facility this year. In past years, we've used different facilities in the Austin neighborhood, everything from By the Hand to, just different buildings. But we want to make sure that we're hosting it at our Lake and Long so people can become more familiar with planning your success. And it's kind of like that home base. So we're able to do more.
That's dope. Are you guys supported by ACT? Austin Coming Together?
No, no. Currently, no. We're definitely partnered with the organization. I partner with the organization in a different capacity in
Okay.
just my work. So we're
Okay.
absolutely familiar with them,
All
and
right.
love all that they're doing for Austin. So that partnership on behalf of Planning Your Success is to be determined, but absolutely. Fantastic organization, and I love all that they're.
So let's
Hmm.
see if anyone in the audience, you have any questions, Miss Underwood, Ella, Tamika, Miss Jane, anyone?
Hi, y'all here.
How you doing, Miss Houston? You have
I'm
any?
babysitting, so they keeping my attention.
Okay, we hear you. We hear you. Have any questions for Miss Underwood regarding that program?
No.
Okay.
But she did say she has a facility in Austin. Where in Austin?
So it's right on the corner of Lake and Long. And if you have any kids in your household under 10, they're eligible to come to youth summer camp for free. That's July 14th through July 16th. And we can definitely make sure that you get that flyer because registration just opened. And we're so excited. It's going to be 3 days of just amazing fun. We got a really, really good program set up for the kids this summer.
Great, great.
That's what's up. So,
Okay. Because I
it,
have two great nephew and nieces. They're about that age. Plan for them.
wait, I didn't hear that last part. Say it again. She said what?
She's saying that she had two great nieces and nephews
Right.
that I think she said they didn't have anything planned for the summer.
Oh, perfect. Send them. Send them. We're excited. We're excited. We plan to serve a minimum 100 kids at each location. So we have some big, big things planned. Carnival planned for Saturday. I want to give away all the surprises for the kids, but just know that we do things big at Planning Your Success. So it's going to be a really, really good time.
For sure, for sure. So anyone else have any questions or comments? Um, Hey there, Liz. Anything?
Y'all brilliant.
Can you hear me? Liz.
So, I want to know a little bit more about this executive presence piece because that was something that I imagined or was thinking that a lot of kids needed, right? Being able to understand how to negotiate, being prepared for. I would assume you prepare from like presentations and
Yep.
all of that. Um, so and you do that, right? That's something you
Yes.
said is your specialty.
Absolutely.
Okay. Beyond that, what else is included? What do you like? I think you mentioned soft skills, for instance, things like active listening or even translation skills. Like, is that something that's also included?
Yeah, you're
I
speaking
mean,
my
like,
language. Yeah.
okay, better than that. Bet. So, how do they take to that? That's interesting. How do the children like? Because I know our community at times too, because we talk about education and our kids are woefully undereducated.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so I'm curious as to when they come to you, how does things like where they at in terms of education level fit into how it is that you're able to deliver or even build them up in a sense?
Oh, that's a great question. So you're right. The issue is twofold. One, they have to, get up to the level where they can compete, in the market. I mean, the great thing about the job market now is, yeah, I would say there's more. The perception has changed that people are willing to train. If you're willing and able, and you show up on time, like there's more. I would say. Uh, cultivating entry-level employees, whereas before it was like, well, if you don't have it, then you're not the one. But now the way that the market has shifted with the Great Resignation, more companies are willing to train. And so that's where the executive presence training comes in, because in order to get it to resonate with the kids that I work with, we do a lot of skits. We do a lot of mock interviews. They have to see it. They have to see the difference. And what I love about doing it that way is that even our young kids, I'm talking about as young as like 7 or 8, we'll do skits where it's like an interview gone wrong. And then we'll say, a show of hands, what do you think this person could have done better? And, you'll have the baby saying, oh, she was rude. She was disrespectful. And it is just my favorite thing to see, because they're picking up on the verbal and nonverbal cues. So when we do these skits, it's definitely the highlight. All ages participate, and you get a lot of light bulb moments in that, because sometimes it takes seeing it to realize and really walk in that self-awareness. Like, oh man, I do need to sit up straight. I do need to make eye contact. I do need to really rehearse what I'm going to say, so there's not like a whole bunch of awkward pauses while I'm figuring things out on the spot, right? So it's just a lot of really just doing the work. So by the time they get to that stage where the rubber meets the road, they're set up for success. That's really what it is. They've done it so many times, they're not intimidated anymore. And that's really what it comes down to, making sure that they know that they have a place, that they belong in that room, that whoever is on the other side of the table should be grateful to have them there. So a lot of it is that empowerment and confidence building too.
That's good, and our children need a lot of that. But I'm glad, I'm happy. Yeah,
Sure, go ahead.
I have a question for Ms. Underwood. My name is Edie Jacobs. My program is DTWE, Get to Work. How and where do you get your children from?
Oh, that's a great question. Absolutely word of mouth. And in the weeks leading up to our events, we have a street presence. We have a street team going out on Saturdays. We meet people on the bus stops. We go in all of the stores. The chicken places, the gyro places. Like we show up. We have. There's nothing like a street team. Even when we're passing out pluggers, we'll have all the information on the back with a phone number, or email address, a QR code. So whatever it takes to get to connect with us, finding kids is a lot of word of mouth. But there's nothing like an old school street team. We do all of the online stuff. I do all the marketing. So we have Eventbrite and Facebook and Instagram and emails. Like, I do all of that. But you still need a street team to meet people where they are. So we absolutely do that. And we're consistent, right? So it's not until July, but we've been talking about this for a month already. So that's like a 3-month runway to get kids aware and signed up to make sure that we meet or exceed our goal of 100 kids per location.
So does anyone else have any questions or comments? Once again, Courtney, maybe I missed it. What's your background again? Where'd you go to school? Where'd you grow up again, and all of that?
Oh, sure. So I'm a West Sider through and through. I grew up right on the corner of Austin and Division. Then I moved to an apartment building on Leamington. So like literally right around from the Super Gyro place. That was me. So right on Leamington and Lake. So like the West Side is my heart. It's really what I know. And when I think about my background, it's just beautiful to be able to come full circle and pour into the community, pour into my community, and really change the narrative of what Austin looks like. Sometimes it's just being in conversation and then having people say, well, oh, I didn't know you were from the West Side. It's like, absolutely, like you should know, because I'm not going to be quiet about it. And so, yeah, I grew up on the West Side my entire childhood.
You said Austin and Division?
Yeah, so I actually went to Whitney Young. I tested and got into Whitney Young for high school, and from there I went to DePaul. But even in both of those places, I was still on the west side. And for a brief time, I lived near North Avenue and Long, actually.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was walking to the different places, getting my steak fries, El Grande, and yeah,
So did you?
and 3Ds and getting my jerk chicken. So like just yeah, local. I shout out those places because they definitely kept me fed. Yeah.
Facts.
What grammar school did you go to?
Grammar school. So I actually went to Mars Hill, but when they still had a school.
Right.
Yeah, so they don't have it anymore, but they used to have a school.
I don't think the church is there anymore. They moved. I think the church is moved
Right,
to the
right.
new location. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You right here in the west side. You down the street from where we 24 years at least, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the West Side is home. The West Side is
Uh,
home.
but do you teach kids? Do you come into contact with kids that don't know when they come to you? They don't know how to read or write or whatever. Do you come into that?
Yeah, literacy is actually one of our four pillars. So we have four pillars: education, literacy, financial literacy, and faith. And literacy is actually one of our pillars because again, growing up on the west side, I read all the time. Like I was always, up at the library, the one on North Avenue, and just because that opened up so many different worlds to me. And I could see what was beyond what was in front of me. So and it just gave me access and opened a lot of doors. So literacy is so important. So yes, we do have kids that come to us that are below reading level when they first start working with us, and that's a critical need. So we care about it so much that it's actually one of our four pillars.
So do you read with the kids then? Like, is that a part of the curriculum at
Yeah,
all?
read alouds. Yeah, read alouds.
Okay, cool, cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, it'd be like we've been going back and forth because Steve was saying like back in his day, it, there were rarely, if ever, anybody that could not read. And I was saying
Mhm.
like, nah, I remember plenty of times, 7th, 8th, high school, where you had individuals, man, this is choke collate, low fate. And we're like, whoa, that's
You know what I
so
think it
like
was?
does that reading out loud for them is it do you ever find it where some of those children are how would you call it, like uh they're I guess timid, right? Like they don't want to read out loud because maybe they can't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a confidence thing, right? Like kids, first of all, kids can be vicious, right? So
What?
like no kid comes struggling with reading that doesn't know they're struggling, right? Like they are
Hmm.
absolutely aware of
Hmm.
where they're lacking. So the great thing about read alouds is that they see us reading, they see us, engaged in the material, and it develops and plants that seed for that hunger for more, because that's how you've been successful, where they desire it themselves. It's not like that top down communication, like, oh, I'm telling you to do this, I'm telling you to do that. Like, no, you want to plant the seeds that they wanted. Like my favorite thing to see is when kids are coming back full circle and telling you about stuff they read outside of read aloud
Right.
time, right? So that's how you know that you've made it, so to speak, that you're
Facts.
planting that seed. So yeah,
You
they
know,
can start off intimidated or timid, but that doesn't last long when
That's good.
boom, yeah, I
you know
love
what it was, DeAndre, when I said I seldom saw young people of my age group
Yeah.
when I was in grade school, grammar school, that didn't know how to read, or if they did, it was probably at a lower level, but not just couldn't read at all. What happened in those years, and I'm talking the early 70s and late 60s, you had probably more adults that didn't know how to read or write because they had pretty much came from the farmlands 5, 10, 15 years prior. That's when
Mhm.
the second great migration kind of started. but you didn't really. I didn't see it. I even asked my wife. I'm like, did you ever notice when you were in grammar school, you had kids that didn't read? She said, no, because we had to go around the room and read certain pages and.
Right. Well, and I think that what we in psychology would call social facilitation. The sometimes, depending on the person, the presence of another can heighten their ability or even lessen it. So some people, like what Courtney is saying, after a while they become a little bit more adept to reading, probably because they have other people and they're like, oh no, I don't want to be that guy. I can't be the only one. You know what I mean? So that's good, and I am happy that here's an opportunity for our students because a lot of them again suffer in a lot of ways in the schools that they go to that's around in the Austin community. But that's good that they have an opportunity to do that there while also learning some other skills and things. That's super dope. So we got the congressman that just came in, as you can see. Congressman, we talking to Miss Courtney Underwood here. She's with Planning Success Chicago, 18-year organization based in the Austin community that is geared towards helping our youth um, develop themselves in various ways. Summer camps. She teaches them executive presence, resume, go over with their resume creation and development, mock interviewing, teach them how to negotiate, just a bunch of dope things. Um, One of the things that I wanted to mention too, we can't be remiss without this. Y'all giving scholarships out over there.
Oh yes, yes. So we are giving away scholarships, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was holding out because we do so much more, but a lot of times the scholarship gets the most press because it's so significant. So the Planning Your Success Scholarship, we've done that since our first year, so for 18 years straight. To date, we've given away over $30,000 in scholarships. One of the things that makes our scholarship so significant is that it goes directly to the student instead of the institution. And that is because you absolutely can get a full ride and still need money, right? You still need books, you still need supplies, you still need stuff for your dorm, you still need food, you still need transportation, like all of these things. And it is our goal to really stand in the gap and make sure that our students aren't lacking for anything and don't have that added burden of financial stress on top of what it means to transition to college, right? There's already a lot of change. And so it's our goal to really alleviate that stress and pressure by awarding the money directly to the college student. And it's absolutely made a world of difference. When we think about the thank yous and we get to see, we check in with the students. It's an ongoing relationship. But we get to see what the money's used for. And it's really just practical stuff. We've given away, in addition to money, we've given away school supplies, we've given away laptops, we've given away, all types of things just to make sure that our students are really set up for their next chapter and that they have everything they need. So what's amazing about our scholarship is that it's all privately funded. We don't receive, grants or anything. And so we're very intentional with our annual fundraisers. So we just wrapped up our first one for the year, our public one, which was our concert. And we're already planning our, next event where 100% of the proceeds are going to the scholarship. And that's also very rare. Nonprofits, usually it's like 75%, 80%. If you're really being competitive, is going to the scholarship directly. But no, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the scholarship. That means that when you think about how many hands and feet it takes to run an event, something like a concert, put everything on the talent at the concert. These are world-renowned artists that we had donate their time, and we alternate every other year. We do a fashion show as well, and that fashion show is like no other. It is not typical fashion show where it's runway quality. That's the best way to say it. We trained for weeks. I myself have been a model in past fashion shows, not recently. Now
Y'all
this
got room for the big boys on the model, you know what I'm
we
saying?
do. We do. We have over a dozen models. We have 3 scenes, 3 to 4 scenes with 5 or 6 outfit changes per scene. We have a full commercial length runway. We have photography. We have music. We have vendors. Like, it is not a fly by night production, which is why we do it every other year, because it takes that much to plan it. And so again, 100% of those proceeds go to the scholarship as well. And so when you think about how many people are involved, just donating their time and energy and resources, and pouring into our scholars, it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see.
In this time where everything is about money, how are y'all getting these people to donate their time like this?
Well, it's telling the story. It's telling the story. We make connections with each of our scholarship recipients, and we allow them to share their stories in their voice. So you get to see where the money goes, And again, like you mentioned, that social narrative, right? They see everybody else is donating their time, right? You'll be kind of funny feeling if you're asking for a check, to be compensated, and you see everybody else has donated
Right.
their time and resources. So it's really just a lot of storytelling. We highlight our scholars, we honor their voices, we follow them throughout college and beyond. Again, we have that next chapter mid-20s cohort as well. So you really get to see where the money's going. We're very, very transparent. Everything we do is above board, and it's just really, continuous growth, right? So we've done this every year for 18 years straight. So part of it is just having that consistent reputation. We definitely stand on that. So that gets us a long way.
Yeah, that's super dope. So who's the architect? Who launched Plenty of Success Chicago?
Oh, that's great. So that was actually our visionary, Pastor Dr. Laura Pettis. It started off with her wanting to invest in students that attended Better Life and then the surrounding areas, the Better Life Faith Church. And then, it took off from there. She realized, wait, we need to make a bigger impact. We need to do more. So then we expanded it by partnering with local schools in Austin. And then we partnered with CPS, and now we serve the scholarship is eligible to anyone in the Chicagoland area, with knowing that we have a heart and a concentration in Austin. So even with expanding it and opening it to the Chicagoland area, we still get a significant number of Austin residents applying and, sharing that narrative. And the great thing I forgot to mention is that anybody that applies for the scholarship still has the opportunity to build a relationship with us, even if they don't win the scholarship. So if they're reaching out to us with the scholarship, we're offering them the full suite of services and making sure that they have what they need even beyond the scholarship itself to succeed. And for some students, that's more valuable, that mentorship, that training. They can get money elsewhere, but maybe they can't get what we're offering, and just that insight and foresight, because the entire Planning and Success Committee is college graduates, so we can tell them firsthand, like, this is what you need to know, like, this is what it's like. And sometimes having that rapport and insight is priceless. So yeah, it's a game changer.
I know one of the things that the congressman always talks about as it relates to the churches is this idea that you just don't have to be a place where people eat. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and I love that Dr. Pettis was able to see beyond that and turn the opportunity, let the church be the epicenter where the gathering and the growing of these children take place. And it doesn't just be a place where people go in and eat, right? Like, and the congressman, like I say, he always talks about that. Are you familiar, Congressman? You know every church around here. You familiar with Better Life?
I am familiar. And the thing that I like about it so much is that you don't always have to be the biggest thing in the world. I'm saying You don't have to have 1,000 students that you're dealing with. But if you had 1,000 churches dealing with 10 students apiece,
Trying to tell you.
That
Trying to tell you.
Quite a number. And I love the church because my own experiences with church were so great from the time that I could read, and even before I learned to read. But it was going to church, little small church, that we learned so much, and the values that were being taught. I mean, and you didn't get beat over the head with it. You learned it, and so you internalized it. Thou shalt not steal. Honor their mother and their father, so that their days will be long. And my mama used to always say, "Cause if you don't, I'll kill you myself." They won't be long. And so it's the socialization, the valualization, the information, and for some people, they also get the spiritualization.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that adds another dimension. Sometimes I had an experience this morning. I turned the radio on, and this guy was singing James Cleveland, who's one of my, and he was doing Peace Be Still. And, I kind of felt myself being speechless to myself. Or you might say that I got happy. I mean, just listening. I was by myself. Nobody was where I was. And so I'm sitting here saying, I'm getting happy listening to James Cleveland sing Peace Be Still and describing what the environment was. Somebody taught the song first and then had James Cleveland start singing. I got happy right there in my office by myself.
Caught the feeling, huh?
Yeah, I sure did.
I hear you, Cons. I hear you. Go ahead.
Nah, what I was gonna ask, I lost my train of thought. Jeez. You got a question? No, in fact, I was gonna go over to the Zoom. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna ask them if they had anything. That's what I was gonna do. Try to make sure I get everybody involved.
Right. I know Mary was on a minute ago and she didn't say anything. But that's all good. Anybody?
I have a question.
Go ahead. Tamika.
Hello, how you doing? Thank you. I was wondering, do you find that it's a different dynamic between young men and young women coming to get help from you for your program?
Well, we do target, there are some programs that are co-ed and there are other programs that are separated by gender, just to make sure that they have an opportunity to, commiserate and learn from in that gender specific environment. So we do a bit of both. I haven't personally run into challenges with either boys or girls learning from me, because what I'm teaching is applicable to everyone. The principles are applicable to everyone. There are certain things that when I'm acting out, of course, I'll use my male counterparts, to do some of these mock interviews and skits, and because body language can be different, based on gender. So we want to make sure that we're illustrating the differences in a very real way. But when I think about any potential challenges just based on gender, that hasn't been my experience to date, which is great. It just shows that the material, that they're picking up on it and they're learning and applying it. So No, short answer, no. We're sensitive to that. If that were the case, we would make some changes and updates. But as it stands now, we have some co-ed programming and some that's separated by gender.
I had two questions.
Thank you.
Oh, my
You're
bad.
welcome.
So I got two questions. One is there like an hours of operation, right? Like, is there, and I guess this goes to the other question is like, for instance, could children just go to the Lake and Long location and be like, I want to be a part of this program?
Oh, that's a great question in terms of, access and how do you stay
Yeah,
connected.
right.
So drop-in hours currently it's by appointment only. And
Okay.
that really started, as you think about COVID and just being sensitive to making sure that we're occupying time that's actually needed, because some people need after school help, but other, teens, they're working after school. So they might need help on weekends instead. So it's really just being flexible and structuring our services to meet kids where they are. When I think about our ongoing things, like youth summer camp, that was intentional. And that's also a difference maker is that our it's a 3-day program and it's intentionally in the evening. So it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then Saturday's midday, because we realize that kids may be enrolled in, other ongoing camps, but parents don't have that sense of relief to have somewhere for safe and educational and nurturing for their kids to go from like 6 to 8 p.m. So it's exciting for parents. They're excited to sign their kids up because they're like, whew, I haven't had a night off in a while. And so, because we're feeding them, we're making sure that they have what they need. And so we are very intentional in structuring the hours and how we serve. So as you think about the services and the workshops, that's all published. So those are, just drop in. If we're holding a workshop, just show up and we'll gladly take you.
Okay.
But when it comes to, the different services like tutoring, for instance, we want to make sure that we have the right tutors there, right? So if you need English help and we only have math tutors on staff, then that's a gap. So we want to make sure that we're serving the needs. So that's a really great question when you think about access.
Got you. So then I want to be clear now. Well, again, kind of two questions. So the first one is like, where do they go then? Because legit, I just sent it to both my brothers. So I'm like, y'all need to get y'all kids up in here. So like, where do they go? Right? You feel me? Like, where do they go in order to find out how to set an appointment or when the workshops or what's happening going on? And then the second part was the are you saying that the camp goes from 6 to 8 and then on a Saturday it's like midday? Like Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now the first part then goes to
Okay. So the first part in terms of where to find us, we are very active on our Facebook page. That's Planning Your Success Chicago. We also have a website that's P as in Peter, YS Chicago.com. And when you think about registering for camp, we actually have a short form link, a bit.ly link, and that is bit.ly/PYS Camp 2022. And I can make sure to, send you those links. But we wanted to make it as accessible as possible to get kids registered and signed up with absolutely, no bottlenecks, no obstacles, because we want to exceed our goal. Everything that we have is all set up. The resources are ready. The staff is ready. We're ready. And we want to make sure that we welcome the kids in. So I would say the two key places are our Facebook page and our website. And the great thing about our Facebook page is that we're always posting resources and scholarships. So even if you check it out now, we have scholarships posted. We have some fellowships posted. We have some internship opportunities posted. So when things come across our radar, we're putting it on our Facebook page. So even if you've already, won some scholarships and you have to think about funding, or even if you're out of college and you don't know what to do next, some of the fellowships are for, older students. So it's our goal to always be a resource. So if you go to that page, we're always posting a ton of opportunities, even if they're not directly affiliated with us, because we want to get the word out about what the community is doing, national, local scholarships, fellowships, internships, just free stuff. We will share it because we want it to be a one-stop shop. We want to be an answer and a solution for our kids.
So look, I want to make sure that, because I'm gonna put it on the big screen. It's PYS Chicago.
Yes, PYS. Yep, PYS.
And then the Facebook is Planning Your Success Chicago.
Yes.
I bet. I'm gonna put it on the big screen. All right. So right now, I am. So I don't know if you guys have already visited yet. We really enjoyed this place. But you need to go if you haven't been. 5713 West Chicago Avenue. You already know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? That's going to be the future site of 40 Acres Fresh Market, first Black-owned grocery store here in Austin. And I could be wrong about that, but hey, it is to me because I don't remember no other one. So, no, actually, Leamington is probably Black-owned, isn't it? Oh my God, Leamington is a Black-owned. Guess not. Well, it's gonna be the site of the first Black-owned grocery store. Now, listen, this pop-up has fresh fruits and vegetables. There's tons of vendors there. Y'all already know how I'm rocking with La Collection Moja, which is good friend Jermaine Nellum's brand. Man, got the CBD oils, or the CBD mixed with the melatonin. I told y'all that put me on my heels. Oh yeah, this was good. That was good sleep. And she got the nice little body butters and everything for the men and women. And so listen, if you haven't been, you need to go. And hopefully this right here will persuade you.
Have you been to the Soul City Community Market yet? It's a pop-up grocery store over on the west side of Chicago in the Austin neighborhood. They have local vendors selling fresh fruit, vegetables, meats, prepared foods, and honestly more things than I can even say in this video. What's also pretty cool is they accept link card and they also match up to $25 of link card purchases. They even have a free photo booth, which honestly I think is a really nice touch. It's over on 5713 West Chicago Avenue, right at the corner of Chicago Avenue and Waller. Click on over to our profile for more info.
All right, chat, man. Every Saturday and Sunday. Saturdays from 9 to 3, Sundays from 10 to 3. Go over there and get your fresh fruits and vegetables. Shop local. You know what I mean? Support the community. We need every dollar to come back to us. So
let's keep it going. We used to have Super Giant, which was
Black-owned?
Yeah.
So about Black Giant?
Travestine Pride owned the grocery store for many, wasn't necessarily in just Austin exactly, but I don't really think of Austin as a separate community from the west side of Chicago. I think more of west side than I do Austin.
Where was it located,
on Chicago Avenue, on Madison Street, down further east. And of course, Travestine was well known. Travestine was associated with Buddy Bear.
Okay.
And you see these little car washes.
Right.
That's Buddy Bear's son, little Phil.
Okay.
The
little Cubby Bear slot, the little that's
Bear business.
That's what's up.
Big Bear first had a grocery store on Roosevelt Road.
Yeah.
Over in the Lundale community. And then Buddy Bear ventured further out west and also had a lounge called the Lion's Den. And then of course Buddy Bear either died, got killed, whatever. People have a lot of things about what may have happened. But Lil Phil is his son.
Right.
Wonderful, good guy, great guy. And he started this car wash business. Now I think he's got maybe a half a dozen.
Right.
Spread around the city in different places.
Yeah.
Now you said Travestine
Pride. Her name is Travestine Pride. She's from Altima, Arkansas. She was a businesswoman for many, many years, and she had a supermarket as well as other kinds of businesses.
And that wasn't Black Giants, that was called Super Giants.
Yeah, I'm saying there were two of them. Well, that was a different one. Travis Dean had her own.
Okay. Is she still around?
She's still around.
Absolutely. I know somebody that, what's his name? Bill Thurman.
And her son. And I think he's still alive.
I think, Bill Thurman, he actually has a soda delivered to her.
Oh,
his line of soda that he has. Yeah. That's where I know their name from. Because he told me he delivers to her somewhere
Super dope.
On the west side.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so Courtney, I know we interrupted you potentially about to eat, and like we do have another hour to go. Now the question it's really up to you if you want to hang around and talk to us more about planning your success, Chicago, or if you feel like you've covered everything, you can leave us with whatever impression you would like to leave us, or you could just continue to sit with us and as we kind of delve into some other things. So it's really up to you. You tell me what's up.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I will hop off now, but always set the stage for a part two. Just connecting with everyone here. This room is so powerful, and I can talk all day, so I have to put a cap on it for my own sake. Just knowing how passionate I am about Austin, about the West Side, about all. About the need, but also about the solutions.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, because I really want to. I want to hear your thoughts about, some other levels, about some other things, and I'm sure you have a whole lot of thoughts. So I really want to hear some of that too.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it. I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of things. When I think about, my West Side roots, when I think about, how I got to where I am today, and the route I took, and the way I'm paving, for those coming on that path, and just really having that full circle moment. So absolutely have a lot of thoughts, and so I would graciously ask to be considered for a part two, because
almost definitely.
Yes.
Every Sunday, 6 to 8, we here. You know what I mean? If you want to come in studio, we have 5730 West Chicago Division, which is obviously down the street from Austin and Division, where you grew up at. So, you know what I mean? It's really up to you.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. So let's get that on the calendar. I will be back, because I can fill up the whole hour, and I don't want to take over with all of my thoughts and all of my background, and I got so much to say.
All right. It's all right. Trust me. Everybody want to hear what everybody got to say. It's just generally a gathering of like-mindedness, and people want to hear some other things that might be different than what they think about. You know what I mean? That's always good too. So.
Oh yeah.
It's always good to share West Side views and issues and comments right here on the West Side. We're West Siders, so that's
we're living it every day, and I think that that's important too, to get that perspective and perception from those that are actually doing the work is really, really powerful. So I'm excited to commiserate and get insight from both of you, just knowing all that's ahead, because this is only the beginning. 18 years in the big picture, when I think about planning your success, it's just a drop in the bucket when I think about the legacy and impact that we're designed to have. So but there's relational currency, right? There's power in partnership. So just know
we need it.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I think next time I'll have to come and see you all in the studio in person.
That'd be fire.
It's like you said, it's right down the street. So
look, and I know you can see kind of over Steve's shoulder where it says 1972, 50 years this year.
That's right.
This organization. Wow. 50 that's incredible. Years.
Yeah,
that is incredible.
And we in the planning stages of a 50-year anniversary you dig over here, so we keep you posted on that too.
Please, we want to be included. We 50 years. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Down the street in St. Angela's Church for 26 years. Well, I'm sure that's that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you coming on. For everybody that's listening and hopefully watching, as you can see, you can go to PYSChicago.com or on Facebook. It's Planning Your Success Chicago. Find out more about the organization. Get your kids involved, man, because some of y'all know some of these rascals running around here, man. Y'all great grandkids, man. Get them involved, man. Get them involved in something positive for real. You know.
Yeah.
Any last words you want to say on behalf of the organization or yourself?
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Hold on,
Thank you.
ISO. Gotta get you ISO. Hold on, how we do this? Hold on. There we go. Ooh, ISO mode.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for this platform. Planning Your Success is committed to the Austin community. Like I said earlier, we have been around for 18 years, but there's so much work left to be done. So as I think about our next event, I just want to make sure that everyone knows about Youth Summer Camp coming up. You can definitely find more information on our Facebook page. That is Planning Your Success Chicago. And it is free. It is free. I cannot emphasize that enough. And we offer a world-class program. We have some amazing sponsors this year, such as Portillo. So you will eat well, have a great time for the 3 days. So all of the details are on our Facebook page. Again, Planning Your Success Chicago. Enroll your kids. As long as they're under 10, we can accommodate them. Our goal is 100 kids, and each year we're getting bigger. So please join us and meet us in person. And I look forward to seeing you there because I myself will be in the building. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
We'll see
you in a bit. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. Bye.
So what do you say, Congress? What's the word for the day?
Well, I've been answering questionnaires. Questionnaires. People send out questionnaires before elections.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
And they want to know what your positions are on different kind of things. Since I was just looking at this one, which was pretty interesting. And their first question is, do you acknowledge climate change as an occurring event, which is primarily influenced by human activity? And so they want to know your position. Do you believe in global warming?
That's an easy yes.
Do you? Well, some people kind of take the opposite view. They don't.
But I think the way the question was positioned, it said, do you think humans?
Yeah, and that's what they really want to get at.
Yeah.
How do we decrease, that is, the human activity that contributes to the demolition or the burning up, if you will, of our world. And people from a theological perspective take the position that although the earth was basically destroyed by water the last time, Noah and the ark. Yeah. And they saw a rainbow sign and say it's going to be fire next time. So it's very interesting how many of these notions, ideas, and concepts, even those from a scientific basis, relate also to a biblical description in a way. And good preachers know how to tie that together and have people understanding some connectivity. So they ask about these things. They ask now on the other side, should concepts such as intelligent design and or creationism be taught in public science classes alongside evolution? And that's the big argument about how did man get to be what man is. Wait, you said creationism? Yeah. I don't know what that is. What is that?
Creationism.
Yeah, I never heard of that term.
That you created that there's the evolutionary theory.
I know, I get that.
Emerging. And then there are people who don't really believe that we've ever been like apes.
Right.
I mean,
it's only
so like what would you?
We've always been
humans.
What
like
we are. That the good Lord created us.
I get okay. I feel that true
apes.
indeed because
right.
I get that.
Then there was light.
I get that. Right.
Then there was Adam. Then there was Eve.
Yeah, and so they want to know all of these. Do you support a person's right to obtain a medically safe, legal abortion as recognized in Roe versus Wade? And of course, that's one of the biggest questions right now, and one of the biggest divides right now. If you get away from the economy, I mean, I think the biggest divide, and what's really got a lot of people worried, is that gasoline. You know, I stopped at the pump and I saw where the last person before I purchased gasoline had put $60 worth in there.
$60 what?
And so that's
12 got 11.5 gallons.
That's a big issue. I mean, that is a big issue. Now, people who don't think anybody can do anything about it, they don't really talk about it.
My little thing too. Crazy.
But others who believe that we can, then they're talking about it much more. And it's interestingly, because whoever is in charge when something goes down, you get the blame or you get the credit. And so there are people who are blaming Joe Biden and the Democrats for this inflationary spiral. And they're saying Russia and the invasion of Ukraine don't have much to do about it. Or if it does, we should have had the ability to stop Russia from invading Ukraine. That after all, you are in charge of the United States government, and you should have been able to prevent Russia from getting to that point. I mean, that's the way evaluation goes on. And so those kind of questions determine a great deal of people's thought about who's fit to be in charge of running the government. Trump now say, you notice they didn't invade when I was around.
Yeah, he did. He said that.
I had my man kind of in my hand, and hey, he was pretty cool. So I know you don't know how. I'm not going to give y'all that secret, but I stopped them from doing it. Or they didn't do it while I was there. So you can't say I wasn't impactful.
Yeah, he was very impactful. He didn't allow any military aid to Ukraine. So did he say that?
Well, if you want to chit chat, then you. I ain't got that kind of stuff. But I mean, these things, these questions. What is your religious background? How do you identify when asked to do so? And you know, I see somebody answer this. They don't know much about Christianity and all. They say I was raised as a Baptist. And Baptist ain't really described as being a religion. I mean, or a denomination. I mean, Baptist is a denomination. But Protestant, when you think of religions, you think of Hinduism, you think of Christianity, you think of being a Protestant, you think
the Muslim.
Catholics,
Taoist.
All of these fall together into Catholic or Catholicism, Protestantism or Protestant.
Lutheran.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes if you just ask.
One of the reasons why I so despise religion from time to time is because, one, the most lives were lost in the name of religion. And then two, it's just like all of it has the same beginning and end almost. It's all, everything is governed by like this higher power. And it's like, damn, that's just another way to be divisive with one another. Religion is. Sometimes that irks me. Like, damn, we found another way to pit a person against each other when all of it goes back to one central thing, one higher being the governing body, so to speak, of our time on earth.
But as we know it, in Western religions, Judaism was the birth of Christianity and Islam. I mean, we do also know that more Eastern religions were always there prior. We just didn't know about it. I mean, you mentioned Taoism. You mentioned, what else was there? Hinduism. Those, they go back thousands and thousands of years. So,
But you notice that all of them have some basic concepts and some things, and you don't necessarily separate. Thou shalt not kill. It didn't say thou shalt not kill unless somebody makes you mad.
Right. Right. Oh, they look different than you and all of it.
Yeah, unless you came home and your neighbor was in there with your wife or something.
Right.
I'm saying, and so there are people who rationalize all kind of things in terms of saying, I will do certain things under certain circumstances, but and there's some laws that people observe. I mean, I have a brother who at one time actually shot his wife and his father-in-law and his wife's cousin, who was not her cousin. Why, if it was, they believed in incest and stuff like that. Anyway, but he didn't go to penitentiary. He didn't serve any time in the penitentiary
because
the judge didn't give him any.
Jesus.
They gave him probation.
Wow.
That's why. And
he was a judge saw fit, huh?
And he came to Chicago and stayed around here for a little while. And then he went on back to where he had been. And so making laws is very important. And I went to a number of events this weekend, and I must confess that some of them were quite inspirational. I went to one out in the 16th Ward where Alderman Stephanie Coleman was having her.
Nice, yeah.
Her, let people come in and give a spiel as to why they should be elected judge. Most of the people were judges, individuals running for judgeship. And, people gave some very good inspirational comments relative to why they wanted to be judged and why they thought they should be given more consideration than the other people who were running for the same spot. Mm-hmm. And of course, people have the opportunity to make the decision, although I must admit that it's very challenging unless we have some kind of free airtime that we give to candidates, especially to judges, because there's no way that I don't care how intelligent you are, how intelligent you have the potential of being, unless you take some time to really look at 50 individuals running for.
We did 17 here.
Yeah, I mean,
and gave them 10, 15 minutes on average, 12 minutes on average, and still didn't cover. Didn't get it. Did just
you couldn't, detect much difference. Right. And so but you try.
So what's your thought? So you're saying, so how would, because the judges are very important to the and that's one of the processes that we just listen. I know I've in the past. This name sounds good. I'm not gonna lie to you. So what would you suggest? How I know you said free airtime, but like, what would that be made up of? Like, what do you think we should be looking for when we be asking these questions or trying to interview or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I think everybody got a different criteria.
Okay.
In terms of an individual, it reminds me of this joke about three umpires discussing how they call close balls strikes. Mm-hmm. One of them said, well, with me, all the close ones are balls. Mm-hmm. And he said, because I believe that the pitcher ought to be given, a little Abraham, give him a little play. Mm-hmm. Trying to get it over the plate. If it's close, and I got it. The other guy said, well, now with me, all the close ones are strikes. Because I'm going to do my diligence. Then the third guy said, well, I'm going to tell you, with me, ain't none of them nothing till I call. So, the citizen has the responsibility to know, but we ought to give the citizen as much opportunity. And so maybe there just ought to be.
That's very hard.
There's going to be an election for judge that maybe
it's separate.
The government should start putting out information on these people 6 months before the election or something, and so one can read enough to figure I got something to go on.
What would you think about the idea of having it be just separate and generally, because there's so many judges in one race that's already confounded by very important elections at the same time. And that in itself is, it's like, it makes me think about how when creating surveys, you never want to make too many choices available. Or you don't want to put too many questions, because now you create survey fatigue where a person is just going to go in and just start doing this. And as a person who goes in and have seen these long ass lists especially with judges, you do get to a point where you like, that name sounds good. I think he black. You know what I mean? And then you just go from there.
Well, in many instances, they used to do it differently. And of course, you had committed merit selection, where you say, we're going to select judges on their merit. But the people doing the selecting, they have the opportunity to be biased. They have the opportunity to be prejudicial. judicial.
Mm-hmm.
They have the right, the opportunity to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And so the best way I guess we can use is to let the citizens decide, because it's always been the idea that on this system of government that supposedly we have, there's the notion that the citizen will know. And there's some people who argue, many people who argue, how is the citizen going to know unless government or somebody tells them?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, no.
I mean, in some, obviously, government, you look at the fact that this year, the election is on June the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Much better than I did
in March.
It was February or March.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Cold
I mean,
February.
February,
Yeah.
well, there was always the notion that the people in charge kept it in the wintertime when it was cold, the weather was bad,
Mm-hmm.
because some people were going to stay at home
Mm-hmm.
if it was cold and raining. But the people who really knew that they benefited
Mm-hmm.
from who was in charge, they were going to come and vote.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm saying when patronage was vote,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
or even when lawmakers you knew oftentimes would cater to certain entities because they gave them money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, England has a way of limiting the amount of money that can be spent on elections in terms of a candidate can only spend a certain amount of money.
That's pretty cool.
But they also give them airtime where they can get free use of the airways. And that's why this notion of a soapbox, because in England, you would see people on the corner, they just take their cart or something, take it to the corner, get on it, and start talking. And if they could attract somebody's attention, then those people would come and listen and make decisions on the basis of what they heard.
Right.
And so this soapbox idea of communicating, I wish that we could limit more concretely, because obviously those who have the most money have the opportunity to make use of the most money.
Yeah.
And it's not even.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the woman who has raised the most money is the lady from Georgia that people think is super way out. The woman that other people saying don't put my office next to her.
Oh, not Senator.
No, not Senator in Arizona. It's the Senator. But Margaret Green.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Oh yeah. Okay. Marjorie Green Taylor, something like that. Taylor Green.
More money than any candidate in either political party.
Jeez.
For her campaign.
Wow.
People just throwing money at her. And obviously the people who like her representation want her to have as much money as she can possibly.
Didn't she just go before a judge to see if she can get on?
And they said she could.
Right.
That there wasn't nothing she had said or nothing she had done that prevents people from having the opportunity to elect her. And so that's why the judiciary is so important, is because because in many instances, they become essentially the last word relative to the determination of legal or not legal.
That's true.
Guilty or not guilty. I'm going to have Mr. Bolden, and I don't remember the fellow that the president pardoned, who was the black Secret Service agent,
Right.
who now has gotten real old. I talked to them the other day, and he agreed to come on a town hall and talk about what it's been like for him for all these years of having been convicted of a crime that he did not commit. And now, being pardoned by the president. But of course, he probably sing that song that the gospel singer sings. Lord, why am I treated so bad? I mean,
it's been 50 some odd years, huh? He was with the Secret Service.
He was with the Secret Service. John Kennedy, I believe, was the person who put him on the White House detail. Supposedly, he ran into him in the washroom where he was stationed. And so sometimes you can, I remember when the guys used to be vying to see who was going to be the security for Harold Washington. And one friend of mine managed to get on the security detail, but they assigned him to the alley, garden entrance to the building that the mayor lived in. So he called me and said, "Daddy, I didn't sign up to be guarding no damn alley." So I called the guy.
You fighting the rats.
That's how you fight. Howard Southfield, who was head of security at the time. And I said, Howard said, "Alderman, could you tell your policeman friend that the first assignment when you get on the mayor's detail to guard the house?"
I'm glad you brought Howard's name up because we trying to get him on. I've been trying to get him on.
I have not seen Howard. I
talked to him.
You did?
Yeah, I have his number. I talked to him.
I had wanted to go to a funeral Friday of a gentleman, David Ware, who was in the same class with Howard and my wife and a fellow named Frank Lipscomb, Ernie Terrell. All of them were classmates in high school at Farragut.
Okay.
That's where they all went to high school, and they all graduated at the same time.
Wow. So I'm going to try to get Howard on so he can, give us some insight to some old things and some new things.
Well, he would be very insightful, especially as it relates to, the whole fact that during those days, there was the Afro Patrolmen's League. And like many of the large organizations in the black community of Chicago, there is no Afro Patrolmen's League anymore. There is a police union that many people feel does not provide the same kind of interest and leadership that African American policemen in Chicago would desire. But nobody really made the Afro American policeman dissolve. I'm saying I don't remember any law that was passed that said you couldn't have a group of African American policemen who met and discussed and organized Just like I don't remember any laws that say you couldn't have the local community organizations with large memberships and people coming, that nobody said that not as many people could participate with the Northwest Austin Council or the South Austin Coalition Community Council or the Northeast Organization or the Mid-Austin Steering Committee. I'm saying there are some things that only the people who are interested in those things can do that. I mean, it's left up to the people.
Right.
And if people don't comply with certain requirements to produce the power, I always say that people talk about what a glorious time it would be. But even if you are a Christian and a follower of Christianity and you say the Lord's Prayer, you will know that the power becomes before the glory. Give us the power, then the glory. So you have to create the power to experience the glory. And if you don't create the power, you probably will never ever experience the glory. Oh, what a glorious day it would be if we all looked out for each other.
That's how I opened up. I said the same thing.
That's
gotta have some unity, man.
Let me ask anybody online if they have any questions or comments for Congressman of what he said. I know, Tiny, you want to say something about the climate change comment that or the Congressman spoke of. You there, Tiny? I thought he was there.
Well, you know, while he's coming on,
okay, go ahead.
This business of giving, we've been working, and Tiny and the Peacemakers are part of this group. We've been organizing a group to give away things to people who need them, or people who say they need them, or people who believe they need them. And we're at the point where we have scheduled for the 20th of June.
For the truck to come in.
Juneteenth. We are, and we've got actually, we've got 3 trucks that we're going to try to do that day, although we've got 5 trucks paid for. And the deal is working with an outfit called City Serve. And the agreement is if we pay them $7,000 to bring $400,000 worth of goods to Chicago that we can distribute to low-income people or poor people or people who need them. And it's reaching the point where people need some of everything. You know, there's a shortage of baby diapers.
Food, the formula.
Baby formula. I mean, it's getting to be a real issue. And a real problem if you can't get milk. And stuff for babies. I'm saying, and it's no joke. It ain't something that's just on Fox News or just on MSNBC. It's a real deal. So we've got 3 truckloads I think we're scheduled to bring in, and we'll have different sites for the distribution. something called Hub, but we don't have to get involved in all that technical. But we have sites. I mean, they're going to bring the stuff in, we're going to unload it, and we're going to get it to these different sites. Then we're going to have an announcement at the JLM Center because the chairman of the board of the group is Reverend Johnny Miller. Reverend Michael Eady is a vice chairman, and Miss Sharita Logan is a vice chairman.
Oh, okay.
Venus Jackson is the secretary. Evangelist Venus Jackson is the secretary. Miss Howard. Well, we still need about 4 or 5 board members. We created a 21-person board, and I think we have about 15 or 16 that we've installed. We're looking for somebody who would like to be the treasurer because we got to have somebody who really knows accounting, and we got to keep a bunch of records. But we've already got paid for 5 truckloads. But we're just going to celebrate Juneteenth.
That's what's up.
With 3 of those, and each truck is supposed to have $400,000 worth of stuff.
Worth of stuff.
Yeah, might be refrigerated.
You never know. Yeah, that's what's up. And you giving it away for free, right?
Free.
I'm gonna be there. I don't know what's gonna be on there, but I'm gonna be there.
Well, now, so to take the mystery out of things, because a lot of things sound mysterious.
No.
And people don't know how it happens or what makes it happen. And the mystery of it is, this is a faith-based group that we are working with. They are centered in California, but they've put together a powerful organization. There are many corporations, for example, that may have computers. There may be a little scratch on it. But some of the stuff ain't nothing on it. There may be a little scratch or whatever. And they may give us 500 computers. If we ask for 500 computers, then people who need computers can come to these giveaways and get computers. They may need a microwave. We may have a microwave that ain't nothing but they got scratched when they was coming off the assembly line. Some may have, and may be clothes for children. It may be bicycles. It may be, and so they get this stuff from some of the corporations. They have to sign a pledge that it's not going to be sold. It's got to be given away. And it may be a couch, may be a refrigerator. And so it's very exciting to see this group come together because there are Methodist churches involved with it. There are Baptist churches, there are Church of God in Christ churches, and there's a coalition of people who just want to do good to help others. And they ain't looking for no glory. It ain't no glory, hallelujah. They just doing it. And it's very pleasing to work with a group trying to do something like that. And trying to take advantage to get, actually, we've got representation from the Chicago Housing Authority, because we know that the individuals who live in public housing,
they need stuff.
Live on, in many instances, fixed income. We know that there are senior citizens who live on a fixed income. Many people don't know about this thing. Many of our senior citizens who live on Social Security only get about $1,000 a month. Some don't get that much. That's why we're always trying to increase Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're trying to do it. So if there are people out there who believe in the idea that if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with the word of song, they should give us a call and join up and become people coming in who are engineers, people who know how to drive these forklifts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People are volunteering forklifts and things.
So it's actually going to be warehouse.
It's got to be. We
Oh,
got
yeah, there's a lot of stuff, 400,000.
We
Yeah.
got a warehouse. Turns out that Reverend Bill Winston, Pastor Bill Winston, out at the Christian.
Was it Living Word?
Living Word Christian Center. They got a big warehouse, and he has told us we can use it for nothing. That we can come and store the stuff in the warehouse out there at the mall,
right,
in Forest Park, and that's where we go unload stuff and then distribute it from there to the other giveaway sites. And
Mm-hmm.
coming together, it is.
That's a lot of moving parts. That's a lot of operations involved in that. That's for sure.
It is.
That's a lot of operations.
We've got 2 soldiers, 2 ex-soldiers.
Nice.
Reverend Johnny Miller has a young brother, younger than him and his other.
Mm-hmm.
And he just retired from he's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. Mm-hmm. And he's a logistics guy.
Mm-hmm.
He decided to move back to Chicago. And so he's helping with the logistics. And also Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith. Well, Jimmy's daddy used to be my policeman guard when I was being threatened and stuff, and had some things. And so Jimmy is also ex-military and is heavily engaged in logistics and all that kind of stuff that they learned.
Yeah, I know. We used to call him Jimmy D. Smith.
And they know how to do it.
Nice.
And I knew Jimmy when he was a little boy, about that tall. And so it's really coming together. And it's one of the most exciting things that I've worked on from a community coming together vantage point in a long time. I am super excited about it and moving right along.
So anyone have any comments, questions, or concerns out there in the audience? Venus?
Oh, Venus is on?
Yeah, she's on. Miss J?
Well, Miss Venus is the secretary of the group. She has a lot of secretarying to do because it's a group that requires information, and you have to get information to the people. We meet every Friday at 9 o'clock at the JLM Center, and it's a delightful bunch. And last Friday, Reverend Johnny Miller cooked breakfast for everybody. And Lord have mercy, what a breakfast it was. I don't mean he had no breakfast catered in. I don't mean he had nobody else cook breakfast. I mean, that man can cook almost as good as he can preach. And so I made sure I was there on time.
Get rid of the line, huh?
Let me tell you, breakfast is a good part of the meat.
For sure.
So anybody, any comments, concerns, questions? Ms. Houston?
Hi, no, I don't have anything to say right now.
All right.
Miss Houston, you gonna have your grand nieces and nephews with Planning Your Success Chicago with their summer camp?
DeAndre,
Yes.
do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
We hear you.
Oh, I'm going to ask the congressman, what is the process what is the process about those trailer houses? Like if how would you go about if you wanted to put a house on your land for like homeless people, a homeless family?
You would need to check with the city of Chicago and see whether or not you could get approval. And so I would start with the alderman because the zone for certain activities, they all require a certain kind of zoning. And so the alderman could tell you, if he didn't already know just off the cuff, whether or not the lot you're talking about would meet the zoning requirements for that, and then help you go with acquiring the permit that would be needed. And we are looking every way that we can to find a solution to the homeless problem. There are thousands of homeless people in Chicago, and one of the reasons that I like Willie Wilson the way that I do is we went out this winter in the cold to at least 15 or 20 homeless places, and he gave everybody there some money. And we went into the tents, and he saw how bad some of it was. He said, I intended to give y'all $100, but I'm going to give you $2. So I got a little extra. The city is working to try and improve the homeless situation. And one of the 15 projects that I just got an opportunity to provide some direct money to, it's going to go to the city, $2 million to fix up an SRO.
Single room occupancy.
Yes, single room occupancy that is in need of some work so that homeless people can live there. So it's a great question, and I'd love to see some more of those being used for that purpose.
Yeah, we need them cargo miniums going, and people like are legit building, man, like the houses out of them that they're building now. You know.
Yeah, well, we need everything other than
we do.
more alcohol and more drugs.
Yeah.
But we really need all of it.
Yeah.
And the more unified we become in terms of effort to get it, one of these questionnaires asked Jada, do you believe that we should never raise taxes again? And I had to answer no to that because I don't know what the requirements are going to be to try and alleviate some of the issues and problems. And I believe that there are some people in our country who have the ability to pay much more tax than what they're paying. And I think there are some people who are being taxed too much. And the real thing about taxation is how do you make it fair? And how do you make it fair enough in terms of using the resources and not letting people get away with not paying their fair share? And so I think that there are some instances where people should pay more. I think there are other instances where people should pay less.
Yeah.
Let me ask a quick question. What do you think about this $10 billion initiative that the president is putting forth for public safety to the police departments?
I am in favor of the president putting forth additional money for safety and security. As a matter of fact, one of the big issues that Ms. Leola Spann worked on for much of the time that she was the leader of the Northwest Austin Council was making use of public money through something called weed and seed. Weed and seed, which was really just an effort to try and create safer communities, or communities that were as safe as we could make them, and some of it related to providing resources to law enforcement. Some of it related to divergence from the criminal justice system, where rather than locking people up for minor offenses and so forth, that alternatives were created. But of course, the president has a lot of influence on creating $10 billion, but the president ain't the boss that people think he is. The president has to be the inspiration and the inspirer. The president can't create $10 billion. The president can throw out a proposal and say, y'all give me the authority to get $10 billion. If the House agrees, then it goes to the Senate. If the Senate can get 60 senators to vote for it, that's going to be the president's problem.
Right.
That's going to be this business of somebody being the boss. The boss ain't the boss relative to just being able to do something. The boss is the boss, and the boss can get other people to go along with his thoughts and ideas. And so I'm hoping that this can be developed into a program. We've gotten a lot of money out of the federal government these last 2 years. I'm talking about money. I'm talking about so much money till it ain't funny. But we also got to make sure, we getting the $17 billion out of the infrastructure bill. Illinois getting $17 billion
With a B.
out of the infrastructure money. And we got to make sure that the governor and the state legislature, that money is spent in such a way that we put it in everybody's community and everybody get a piece of it. We talk about money.
Oh, yeah.
My district alone, since 2008, has gotten $66.7 billion for health care. Just for health care, not for other stuff. $66.7 billion for health care. And so where is it? We don't see it. Yeah, we got it. It came to Northwestern. It came to Viola. It came to Mount Sinai. It came to PCC Wellness Care. It came to all of the health outlets and health entities and programs. It came to the kidney man. It came to
University of Illinois.
Yeah, it came.
Respectfully, I think it's hard to digest a number like that when it's like from Austin to the West Loop. It's a 20-year difference in terms of healthcare. That's so hard.
Perspectives of life.
Yeah, a lot of factors, but part of the determination used to be more than that.
Oh yeah. It ain't like that the outfits ain't doing, but there are so many factors that produced that. I'm saying that's why we can't ever give up and stop working.
Yeah.
We wasn't here when they got off the boat. We just And other people weren't either, but their ancestors were.
Right.
And our ancestors were. And so much of the wealth of the nation that people still have was generated by our ancestors when they were working free.
Right.
And didn't get no pay. I know it's hard for young people to envision that era.
Mm-hmm.
That period
it happened.
But it did happen. And it was the peace.
Yeah.
And my great granddaddy and great grandmama and so forth, these people worked, didn't get a dime. Some days wouldn't have nothing to eat but some corn pone.
Who?
Corn pone.
What the hell is that?
Yeah. You don't know about corn pone.
No.
That's some water.
Water corn.
Water in the meal.
Water and cornmeal.
And some grease.
Jesus Christ.
Water cornbread.
Yeah, so we keep working and we even created habits as well. Mm-hmm. We smoke no cigarettes and a lot of stuff. Yeah. We drink no whiskey and a lot of stuff. We won't go to the doctor sometime when we need to go. All of these, and then we ain't got no money sometimes to go. We don't have bus fare.
Well, let's talk about healthy eating. That was never a tradition.
Yeah, you had to eat what you could eat. But the factors, you could just delineate the factors all day long. Yeah. And you could create or just talk about them. One of the things I try to do is stay versed on health. So I listen to a doctor in the house almost every Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. Hardly does a Sunday morning go by that I don't listen to a doctor in the house. And one of the best doctors I've ever known educating people about health is a guy named Terry Mason. Mm-hmm. Then every Monday night from 7 to 8, I do something called couch conversation with the doctor. Mm-hmm. I have 6, 7, sometimes 8 black doctors on every Monday night. I have one white guy who volunteers in my office, Douglas Graham. And so we just go round and round and round. And health is one of the greatest things that people need to try and take care of from an individualized basis first. Yeah. Because if you can't take care of your own health, you ain't gonna do too well at taking care of nobody else. Like they do on the airplane. They say if the airplane starts shaking and all that, put your mask on first.
Get your mask on first.
Then help somebody else put theirs on. And so we just gotta keep working at it. We gotta keep struggling. We gotta keep doing it. We gotta make sure that our babies are born healthy to the best way we can. I'm the champion in the Congress for something called home visit. We were able to put $6 billion in the Affordable Care Act for home visiting. And home visiting, of course, means that health workers go out and visit women who are pregnant and help them through that whole process.
Prenatal stuff.
Oh, we have maternal and child health programs. Nice. Cynthia Williams got one of the biggest programs in the state of Illinois, right over here on Chicago Avenue. I went to one baby shower one time. She had 500 women there pregnant. And it was a baby shower. So efforts are underway, but
you gotta just stay diligent.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Well,
all right, y'all. Listen, you already know every Sunday from 6 to 8, you tune in to Welcome Northwest Austin Council. Here, myself, Steve, and the congressman, as we just chop it up. You know, we talk about things that's affecting the West Side today. We had a really good guest, man.
Yes, indeed.
Planning Your Success Chicago, that's looking out for our youth in various ways, man. Listen, summer camps, executive presence, they teach them about resumes, how to negotiate, become entrepreneurs, develop their own economic engines, just like the one that America is right now. So, listen, send your child there, or if you know somebody that needs their child to be sent their way, send them their way. PYSChicago.com. We're on Facebook, Planning Your Success Chicago. Usually before we clock out, we like to talk to everybody. So we're going to go around the room, leave your final thought with us. What's up?
What you got to say there, Barry Corin?
Oh, wow. That's all it's going to be.
Who is that?
So the nurse called you, told you discharged.
Who is that?
Miss Houston.
Miss Houston, you got something? Go ahead, Barry, do your thing. Let me get her. Miss Houston, I hear everything you're saying. Go ahead, Barry, do your thing. You're not there, Barry Corin. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here.
There you
Hey,
go.
I'm just turning stuff on.
That's all good.
Hey, guys.
Hey there, Barry Corin.
So, good to hear you guys. And keep.
Likewise. Go ahead, Barry. I lost you.
Wait, is it?
Oh,
Go ahead.
can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just saying, good to hear you. And keep up the good work.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Who's that? Ella Houston. Who's that? Miss Jacobs. Guess that was Miss Jacobs that time. How about Tiny? You got anything in conclusion? Alan Evans. I guess not. Mr. Venus, you got anything in conclusion? I guess not. Ms. Jacobs, you have anything in conclusion?
Yes, I always do.
Let's do it.
But you know what? I said, you all got this show going on. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. I enjoy it every Sunday. I'm on every Sunday. But we just got to continue to pray for our young people.
Absolutely, Ms. Jacobs. Absolutely.
We are in trouble, and our young people is got it, and they just going on and on. It seems like it's no solution. So the solution is us praying and trying to figure it out. That's my statement for today.
Appreciate that. Mary God.
I'm here, it's Mary.
What you got to say, Mary?
Sometimes you learn a lot by listening.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I want to end it out. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate that. One. How about who's that? Anyone else? I guess that's no one else. If anyone have any comments, we're gonna go ahead and start to conclude. I just want to say I thank everybody for coming on this weekend. Okay, go ahead.
Steve?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just leave you with one thought that just I ran into today. And that is that there are 10 times as many smoking deaths as gun violence deaths. And I thought, could that be true in Chicago also? And I think in 2020 there were about 800 gun deaths.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to look up how many smoking deaths there are. And it's 18,000 per year, every year
Right.
And I think generally the statistics are half of Illinois is in the Chicago area. So I figure it's something like 9,000 smoke deaths, but I didn't run across any hard data on it. But that's still about 10 times
Right.
the number. But if you listen to the media, it's just constant news about shootings and deaths, but nothing about smoking deaths.
Right.
And it's one more thing. Yeah. Smoking deaths in the U.S. is about 450,000.
Wow.
And COVID deaths is about 350,000. So there's something odd about the news we're getting.
I hear you.
That's saying, yeah. So I just giving you something to digest for next show, or the show after that, or the show after that, whenever you think.
That's some good statistical information to kind of ponder. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But as I was saying earlier, we are about to conclude, and I just want to say, thank you everybody for coming on. We definitely got to start talking about our big day coming soon, which is our 50th anniversary for this year, and hopefully we'll be needing to discuss that soon. How about you, DeAndre? What you got for us?
Yeah, any last words, Congressman?
Only to say that society can determine the quality of life that it wants to have. And that's something that we don't discuss enough.
That was me. Go ahead.
Learning. I used to smoke cigarettes. I know you guys. It was what we did. They gave away cigarettes when I was a teenager. They come to the college where I was going to school. And the most popular person on campus was the sample man. They had these little boxes with 4 cigarettes in them. And they were educating us to smoke cigarettes, knowing they was going to help kill us. They knew then that smoking cigarettes was harmful to your health. They pushed it and promoted it. A lot of us smoked. Many of us died. So if you learn something, you ought to stop doing it. Or figure out some way, if it's harming or hurting you and keeping you from doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Nobody controls your mind.
Yeah.
Lou Palmer used to always be in a lot of meetings by talking about Carter G. Woodson. And he say that Carter G. Woodson said, if you control a man's mind, you don't have to tell him to go to the back door. He said, if you control a man's mind, you don't have to tell him to go to the back of the bus. He said he will find his place and stay in. And he said, if you control a man's mind and the house ain't got no back door, he said he'll find him an axe or a hatchet or something and cut one out. And so the mind is a terrible.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's the most powerful tool that we have.
Waste. Who used to say that? The mind is a terrible thing to waste.
I definitely just want to end the same way I started. The revolution that we need is unity. Black unity is the most powerful thing that has ever been created. It's the most powerful force in the universe. And until us as a people recognize that, we're gonna be extinct. very quickly. Very, very quickly. So with that, every Sunday, as I mentioned, from 6 to 8, you can tune in to Welcome to Northwest Austin Council. Various ways of interacting with the show. We got the Facebook, the YouTube, and the Zoom. If you're on the Facebook or the YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you share with somebody. Let them know what we talk about up here. And if you comment, we can see it and add it directly to the show so that you can be a part of it if you can't be here live. In closing, I'd just like to say, man, listen, we got open seats at the table. We just want to welcome y'all home. Thank you for allowing us to welcome you to Northwest Austin Council. Y'all have a good night.
Good night, all.